Hi. In a few days, we're going to be celebrating that wonderful Chag of Shavuos, Zman Matan Torasenu, the giving of the Torah. That day that the Rebbeinu Shalom referred to it in Parshas Bereshis, when he said Yom Hashishi, with a Hey Hayidiyah, that sixth day. The sole reason for why the Rebbeinu Shalom took Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim. The only reason for his creating the heavens and the earth, giving the Torah to Klal Yisrael. And in comparison to Pesach or Sukkot, it goes by very quickly. Before we know it, it's over. Even if you hold 2 days. But here in Eretz Yisrael, we only have it for 1 day. You blink and it's gone. And I think it's important for us to stop and think and appreciate, truly appreciate what it means to be part of Klal Yisrael and to have the privilege of having been given the Torah. Sure, we learn Torah and we observe the mitzvos, but too often we just do that without really thinking and appreciating what we're doing and why we're doing it. There's a famous Gemara in Masechet Pesachim where Rav Yosef says when he was celebrating Shavuos, every year he would say, if it wasn't for the Torah, I would just be another Yosef in the marketplace. Nothing special, no different than anyone else. In the marketplace, there are different ideas, ideals as to what constitutes a good life. The Torah allows us to live above that. The Torah gives us direction. It gives us values. It gives us priorities. It allows us to connect to eternity. The Torah allows us to try to the best of our abilities to reach our potential, to take the Gashmius together with the Ruchnius, and to live a Torah life. It's interesting to note that Parshas Bamidbar and the Sefer Bamidbar begins always the Shabbos before Shavuos. And if you just thumb through the Sefer of Bamidbar, unfortunately, we are reminded every year of the various nisyonos that Klal Yisrael went through in the Midbar. But it's important to remember that in spite of those nisyonos, in spite of the Chet of the Meraglim, the Rebbeinu Shalom never left us. He has never forsaken us. He might have to punish us, but he will never leave us. And as we go through this horrific year, starting with COVID, then having the terrible Meron tragedy, and now the unrest in Eretz Yisrael, it's important to remember that the Am HaTorah has been guaranteed that the Rebbeinu Shalom will never forsake us. In spite of how difficult things will be, Amidst Hashem, Be'ezras Hashem, they will only get better. You know, it's easy to say that we have emunah and bitachon when things are going well, when life is easy. But the challenge is to be able to say that in spite of all the things that we don't understand and that seemingly make no sense at all, they're all from the Rebbeinu Shalom. And we continue to believe and we continue to trust. That's the highest madrega that a person can reach in terms of his emunah and bitachon. And if there was ever a time, at least in our lifetimes, and it shouldn't get any worse, al tiftach pelasatan. But if there was ever a time in our lifetime to be able to say that Rebbeinu Shalom, We don't understand, and it's so difficult, and it's so painful. But we believe in you, and we believe there's a reason for everything. And if we strengthen our emunah, and we strengthen our bitachon, and we strengthen our kesher to Torah, because that is what develops our personalities and our Weltanschauung into what life is all about. That in Mitzvah Hashem, these tragedies will cease to exist, and that we should only experience good times and even better times with the coming of Mashiach, the Meir V'Yameinu. Have a wonderful Shabbos and a Chag Sameach.